Ladies and gentlemen out there, this is Artie Lang. This is disgusting. Everybody's too nice now. We're all so nice, aren't we? But the thing is, we're not nice. Secretly, we're mean. That's essentially the show. It is funny. I cannot be a bigger just blob of nothingness and negativity. Party time! You want to get a little limbo dance going? Come on, I'll do it. The third person at the table was the bottom of my stomach. With hair and paleness and stretch marks. American nightmare. Weight like a spider. And this talks about every controversial subject you can imagine.
Shock jock Artie Lang on Media Day. Can't be with that sweet stuff. Nah.
Smack the sugar right out of you. Welcome to The Breakfast Show, the Artie Quitter podcast on a blustery January day here from Hoboken, New Jersey. We are, I don't know if I fully explained this, I'll set the setting here. We're in my condo in Hoboken, New Jersey, on one of the top floors with a terrace looking at the Freedom Tower, and we look directly at New York City. I'm looking at the Empire State Building right now. I have basically a painting of New York City. It's the best view of New York you could possibly get, I think from any side, but definitely from the Jersey side. Joe Matarese, your thoughts?
I agree with you, and it was really sunny when I first walked up here.
Yeah,
and now it's fogging in. It looks like San Francisco.
It
out
does.
there.
It's blustery, but it looks like San Francisco. It's windy. It's foggy, and there's a guy blowing some guy right underneath here.
I do have a complaint. I've been trying to listen to more news because I've been on your podcast all week. And,
right. Well, what is this like? You think this is like the 5 on Fox News? Or
I have to study for it a little bit. I'm not.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe.
Trying.
Jesus Christ.
But listening to 880 is the fucking weather every 3 seconds. I'm like, we know.
No, well, but you don't understand. Let me explain radio news to you. They're all about turnover. They're all about someone getting in the car, getting out of the car. It's time and weather and traffic. Boom, boom, boom. They just give you the fucking headlines, man.
I really wish there was a station that I could just tune in that would just give me, like you're saying, because I don't feel that it is the headlines. It's more weather and local shit that doesn't matter.
But it's a commuter station. If you're a commuter, dude, what's more important than the weather? You know what I mean?
But you got it. You can look outside.
12 people got shot in Paris, but if you're looking to get from Brooklyn to Queens, that's not affecting your day.
I get the traffic, but I don't need the weather that often.
Okay.
It doesn't change.
Calm the fuck down. No, I agree with you. Maybe it's a bit much. It doesn't change, but it will change is the point. Your point is wrong.
I'm trying to study for the Artie Quitter podcast, and I'm like, all right, I don't. What's Artie going to talk about?
Well,
today?
listen. Well, I want to bring this up because it's in our face. This fucking 12 people shot in Paris. Okay, and guess why? Because a satirical newspaper. This paper supposedly is kind of like a more political, well, not more political, that's a bad way to put it, maybe a little bit more of a serious version of The Onion, but it's satirical. The Onion being a great, great comedy, satirical comedic newspaper here in the States. I'm a big fan of The Onion. But that's kind of like what this was. It was the Parisian or the French version of that. It was pretty big in Europe. And they had the audacity to make fun of Muhammad in a cartoon. To fuck with a Muslim. These people are out of fucking control. It's the only religion where if you make fun of someone in the religion, they will execute you. That's it, man. They have decided that you make fun of us or anybody in it, or our God or supposed God, unlike Christians where you could fuck with them like crazy. Jews, make fun of themselves and are very self-deprecating, and if someone else makes fun of them, they have to deal with it because it's freedom of speech. Protestants, pick one. Baptist, Muslims, man, and there's a lot of great Muslims. I understand it, but there's a lot of them. Clearly, too many of them now, where they have decided that if you fuck with us, you're dead. You're a dead person. Like, not we're gonna publicly mess with you, insult you. We're going to kill you. We're going to get AK-47s. We're going to train people to come out and execute you. And if you watch the footage, these guys, and it's clearly Muslim terrorists on some level. They're trying to figure out, where exactly they were from or where they were trained. But I think they're part of a higher organization. Maybe it's ISIS. Who knows what it is? But they were clearly trained in the art of attacking people with guns, these guys. They were pros, dressed all in black like ninjas with AK-47s or M16s, whatever the fuck the gun is they use. And they casually got out of a car that looks like, by the way, the car, very unmacho. That car is not a penis extension these terrorists were using. That looks like a Kia. They got out of a Kia very casually, executed a bunch of people who were they knew that they were going to be in the offices today. Because nowadays with computers, not a lot of people who work as journalists go into offices. They write their shit from home or on a laptop, wherever they are. iPad, whatever the fuck. But they knew today, for some reason, a lot of people were going to be in the offices of this paper. And they casually walked in, executed whoever they could, including a guy named Charlie Hebdo, who I guess was the editor of the paper and, was responsible for these cartoons, making fun of Muhammad or making fun of Muslims. And executed him along with 11 other people, including a couple of Paris cops. There's one shot, they don't show the whole video because it's probably too disturbing. A cop is on the ground with his hands up. And you think maybe this guy's a wife and a couple of kids trying to appeal to this motherfucker with the gun. You could almost see him saying, look, I got a family. Don't do it. Please don't shoot me. And he executes him in cold blood. 4 inches from the guy's head. He just lets him have it.
I'm watching the CNN clip with you, and it's kind of they weren't running. They're kind of like moseying around.
These guys
was there no chase?
You know why? Because they feel they're so confident that they're right. And they got away. They got away very easily. And again, executed a cop at point blank range and a bunch of people who worked for this paper because the paper had the audacity to goof on Muslims in a cartoon. No other religion does this. And I got to say, the only guy in the media who really hammers that home in a politically incorrect way, which is the right attitude to have now, is Bill Maher. I think Bill Maher is a smart, funny guy. I think he's an enormous asshole. But I think he's smart and he's funny. And he points this out. He's the only one with balls to point out it's the only religion where if you're gay, you're dead. If you're committing adultery, you're dead. Or you have to leave the country because we'll kill you. If a woman is promiscuous, dead. Stoned to death. Stoned to death. And, Bill Maher, of course. It's like, oh yeah, I guess another religion would do this. I guess Catholics execute you. Okay, you're right. The Muslims don't kill people for being gay. When someone says something like that, you can't help but disagree with everything they're saying. You know what I mean? Because the way he goofs on religion, it's like, oh yeah, you believe in God. You know why? Because you're stupid. If you believe in God, you're stupid. You know why you believe in God? Because you're dumb. And I'm smart. You know what Bill Maher is? Bill Maher is a real live version. You know the character Andy Kaufman used to do when he wrestled people?
Yeah.
He would wrestle people in Memphis, like women.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd get, he would purposely bait them about, wrestling women. And they would get mad. And Andy Kaufman, in an ironic character, would go, I'm smart. I'm from Hollywood. You people are dummies from Memphis and the Midwest. You're not as smart as me. Bill Maher's actually that guy. Bill Maher is the character, the hateable character Andy Kaufman was. And Bill Maher says smart, funny things. This is one of them. I agree with him completely. That the Muslims are we have to get them in control somehow. We have to control the Muslims. But when he says it like, you're stupid. The Muslims are being stupid. When he says it like that, you want to strangle him. Joe, your thoughts?
My favorite Bill Maher is when he's like, the Mexicans are taking all the good jobs from Americans.
Yeah.
Are they?
I guess
they're not. They're not the jobs you want.
I guess you want to clean up the bathroom at a rest stop diner. I guess that's what you want to do after you get out of Cornell. Yeah, I mean, and I'm doing the hands too. But Maher, again, like with a lot of things, Bill Maher, I feel, is right on the money with this. And he got into a famous argument with Ben Affleck on his show. And Ben Affleck, brilliant movie star. God, did he sound retarded? He just sounds like a dummy. He sounds like a big dumb movie star is what he sounds like when he's. And first of all, I don't believe for one fucking second that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon wrote that movie Good Will Hunting. That was written by some old Jewish guy in Cali. You know, they had an idea for a script based on a neighborhood that they're not from. You know who's the real deal? Mark Wahlberg's the real deal. That dude's from a neighborhood where, you know, you didn't fuck with the Wahlbergs. They're tough motherfuckers.
Right.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck pretend to be that. I think they were like in the choir. You know.
Totally agree.
Mark Wahlberg will knock you the fuck out. These guys, they wanted to be from Southie. They wanted to be from Southie, and they had an idea for a movie about a kid who's, you know, a brilliant kid from Southie.
Right. Well, that was, I think he had like a two-page book report on it,
right?
And someone turned it into a movie.
And the book report was what supposedly this guy William Goldman, a legendary writer, wrote the script and I guess took the money and didn't take credit. And those two idiots get Oscars for it. And guess what? Guess what?
I was just about to do that.
Guess what? They didn't write a thing. First of all, if you write a script like that, where's the next script they wrote? That's the one time they wrote a script. If you write a script listen, I'll give them props. That's a brilliant movie. Right. I love Good Will Hunting. But where's the next script? When you write a script that brilliant, you usually write another one. You don't get a job at a diner. You know, where's their next fucking script? You know what? They don't have a next script because they didn't write the first one.
That script is like how a comedian treats a comedy roast. Usually you call all your best friends that are amazing and go, dude, give me these are the guys on the dais. What do you got?
Listen,
and
I have an integrity thing where I don't let anybody write my stand up. I write my
but when I'm on a roast, forget it.
When I've done roasts, I've done a couple of the Comedy Central roasts, a bunch of Friars Club, a bunch of ones on Howard, which were the most pressure because the ones on Howard were real roasts. They were live. Howard let you bomb. You heard no editing.
Oh yeah,
you heard you bombing. And Frank Sebastiano, brilliant joke writer, a joke machine, guy I wrote Beer League with and who directed Beer League. Brilliant guy. He's my first call. Guys like Nick DiPaolo. Joe Matarese has helped me out with jokes for roasts.
Thanks for telling me.
But yeah, that's what happens. You want to hear? I'm not proud of this, but I'm being dead honest on the podcast. I told you yesterday the stuff I pitched at Mad TV, and we're going to expand, by the way. I'm doing a whole bit now. Sketches already pitched at Mad TV. One was, and again, Joe feels they should have done this. It was called How the Great Directors Got Their Start, and it was Martin Scorsese in the beginning to get a break and to get money directed an episode of The Brady Bunch. And we had, Peter Bobby beating the shit out of Peter for using the word stinker. And, Bobby, get the door. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a Brady. That's Joe's line. And Ben from Clifton, there we go. It's the Brady Bunch. Is that the Brady Bunch?
What's that?
What is that?
It's the almost Brady Bunch
version of it. I had the real one.
It sounded like the Allman Brothers. James Flippin, by the way, behind the glass. He's our tech guy. There it is. We're going to get to this later. Ben from Clifton, real funny guy, comic. He's contributing to the podcast. He wrote as if Scorsese did the opening for the Brady Bunch. We have a song parody. It's really funny.
Yeah, let's hear this.
You're gonna
get to that.
We're gonna get to that.
Ben from Clifton.
I'm gonna give. So that's the first thing. The other thing I pitched was I did this in my audition, and they wouldn't do it as a sketch because they thought women wouldn't get it. The 14-year-old urbans wouldn't get it who watched the show. Rush Limbaugh singing songs by Rush.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Today's Tom Sawyer. He gets high on you with the space he invades. He gets by on you. Living in the limelight. Yee.
I think you got to add do 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 do
do do do do.
Do the little guitar riff.
Do 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 do. I'm doing.
You're doing.
Crosby, Stills, and
Nash.
You want to hear a great story about Crosby, about that song? I think I've told this before. My buddy David Herman on Mad TV had a friend, a real funny guy. He's a sound engineer. He had a reel-to-reel in his apartment. He lived in one of those shitty apartment complexes that had paper-thin walls. And his neighbors were the biggest assholes. He hated them. So he gets into a huge feud with his neighbors before he leaves for a 3-week trip he's going on. He puts right next to where right next to his wall, on the other side of the walls where his neighbors slept, was their bed. He puts on a reel-to-reel on a loop, just the part, and that Crosby, Stills and Nash song that goes do 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 on a reel, on a loop, like on a loop. That's all you heard. Do 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 do. Put the volume all the way up and left his apartment for 3 weeks. They went.
That's his alarm system.
No, he left his apartment, so they would hear that when they tried to go to sleep, 24/7. They had a baby. They and they actually started to go crazy. The people mentally, they called the cops to break the door down. Okay, so
I had a roommate like that. That's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
That he played the same Christmas song every day for hours,
right.
over and over and over, because he was like trying to write a script.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
that's what this was like. So that's the same. And I've never told this anywhere because it is embarrassing, and I admit this is racist. I don't know what I was thinking, but a parody to Good Will Hunting. I pitched Good Will Smith. And Will Smith is the janitor. Will Smith is the janitor at a high school, and the problem on the board is 2 + 2. And it took our professors 5 years to figure out this one.
Whoops.
And it's like an Amos and Andy voice. It took our professors 5 years to figure out 2 + 2 = 4. Good Will Smith. I actually pitched that. The black kids in the cast wanted to hang me.
You want to hear one that I did?
At first, I didn't know what was wrong. I said, "Was something wrong with that?" They're like, "Yeah,
That's hilarious." I had one on stage that I used to do. It's fun. I used to do a lot of those, like combinations.
Well, that's what Mad Magazine combined.
Right.
That's why the movie parodies were like that on Mad TV. We were trying to be like Mad Magazine.
Right. I just did them.
They combined two.
Mine
titles.
was a combination of Boy starring John Travolta, Boy in the Plastic Bubble, and Saturday Night Fever. It was called Saturday Night Bubble. And I used to do a line on stage. I would go, all day I work on my bubble and you hit it. That's all I remember. I can't come out. Air makes me feel weird.
You hit my bubble.
Air makes me weird.
You know what's so great? That's a great reference that nobody gets.
The Boy in the Plastic Bubble.
Because Travolta was in both of them.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
I used to say his funniest movie was not a comedy, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. That's actually funnier than the joke.
How many comedies has he made? Well, Saturday Night Fever is really funny.
Really funny.
It's really funny. Yeah.
Well, you don't think 3 Men and a Baby? Oh, he wasn't in 3 Men and a Baby? Was he in
Look
that?
Who's Talking.
Look Who's Talking. I'm getting them combined.
You're thinking of Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking too. Listen, I don't know if every Christmas he should blow Quentin Tarantino. I mean, his career was in the shitter, and now he has a 747 jet parked in his backyard because he got in Pulp Fiction.
I know.
I always said, how did Travolta get all that cash? And somebody in show business told me this because he never had that TV syndication money that everybody wants. He was just in movies. You know what he got a piece of?
I know.
Soundtracks.
Yeah.
The soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever, his deal was, and Grease. He got a piece of those soundtracks.
Well, he sang in all the songs.
Right. That's right. Exactly.
I don't know if he wrote them.
But he got a piece.
I think he might have wrote them.
But he got it. I don't think he did.
No?
But he got a piece of the publishing as if he did write them. I think that's what happened. All right, here, Ben from Clifton wrote, this is as if Martin Scorsese, when he was young, to get money and get a break, directed The Brady Bunch. Ben from Clifton sent this in. Here's how the opening song might have gone if it was about a mob family. Wait.
We need the karaoke version now. Do we have it?
Wait, just keep it low. I'll talk over it. Can you want to do karaoke or the?
You got Artie Lang here. I mean, he'll talk right over that.
I'll just yell.
Professional.
I could just yell.
Yell over.
That's the thing. I'm not a professional. I could just yell over. You ready?
Is this it? This doesn't sound
anything
anything
like
like
for a second? Yeah. That's someone ripped you off, Jen. That doesn't sound like the phrase.
How about I just hum it and you sing it over?
Here's the story of a guma named Tracy who was trying to raise 3 good-for-nothing girls. All of them had serpent tongues like their mother. The youngest one wore furs. Here's the story of an earner named Tony who was busy with 3 headaches of his own. Just 4 jerk-offs dealing with each other in a Cape Cod and Bayonne. Well, one day, fucking Tony, he saw Tracy, and he knew she shouldn't talk so very much. So he put her in a... Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to do this again.
Reset.
Reset it.
Take 2. Martin Scorsese.
Ready? Here's a story of a gourmand named Tracy who was trying to raise 3 good-for-nothing girls. All of them had serpent tongues like their mother. The youngest one wore furs. Here's a story of an earner named Tony who was busy with 3 headaches of his own, just 4 jerk-offs dealing with each other in a Cape Cod and Bayonne. Well, one fucking day, Tony, he saw Tracy, and he knew she wouldn't talk so very much, so he put it in her head to form a family. That's the way they all became the Bruno Bunch. The Bruno Bunch. The Bruno Bunch. That's the way they all became the Bruno Bunch. Hey, what the fuck are you looking at, asshole? Keep that motherfucker here, Johnny. Get the door.
That's the second verse.
I'm gonna shoot him in his big fucking mouth. The Bruno Bunch. Thank you, Penn from Clifton. That's as good a shot as a song parody as you're gonna get. Nice.
You're a funny guy.
You are a funny guy. What you were coming up with some good ones yesterday. Yeah. What Brady Bunch scene can we work the "You're a funny guy" into? Is there one where one of them's trying to? Your voice is changing.
Your voice is changing.
Hey, Peter, your voice is changing. Maybe you've been away a long time, Bobby. Maybe you don't remember. No more changing voice. I'm all grown up now. You've been away a long time, Alice. Maybe you don't remember so good. I'm grown up now. No more changing voice. Nah, listen, everything's fine. I'm sorry. Now go change your fucking voice. Motherfucker!
Trying to remember some other classic. Yeah. Oh, My Nose is a classic one.
Oh, that's right. The football
on the nose.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, my nose. Mom always said, don't play ball in the house.
Mom always said, don't run the numbers in the house. No, Alice, the cooking scene at the end. Alice, I had bought some nice chicken cutlets for Alice. We were making them up. And and then Cindy... Marsha was going to get on the plane to Pittsburgh, and we were, come on, we got to tape the cocaine to your legs, Marsha.
You would have never found it. That was for the guys in...
Alice! What the fuck did you do, Alice? They never would have found that. They never would have found a towel.
It was in Tigers. Tigers doghouse in the backyard. They wouldn't have found it.
They never would have found the towel, Alice. You told them to put it in the hamper. They never would have found the towel. How did you do that, Alice? How did you do that? I love that.
I'm trying to remember more classic Brady Bunch episodes.
I love that.
What do you got? We got Truth or Dare. I don't recognize
Good Will
that.
Smith.
Slumber Caper. Oh.
Anybody Good Will Smith? No.
Oh God. Well, the Silver Platters. That was a classic one.
Yeah. Or the one.
What was their song?
Wait a minute. Was that the name of the group they formed?
Yeah. Remember they needed to buy a silver platter for their parents
because they broke. Platters. Isn't that when a horse shits on you? The guy's my Pittsburgh platter connection.
Remember the Hawaii episode where he?
That's right.
Alice throws her back out. All these weird coincidences happen because of the idol, the tiki thing.
With Vincent Price. Vincent Price, that secret fruit.
That's actually one of the only. Give me the guitar.
The Brady.
The guitar, right?
The Brady.
It's one of the only things I can play on the guitar. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this.
I guarantee you can't play this either. What are you trying to play?
Whenever something bad happened on that Brady Bunch
there'd be like
episode.
a ding. You actually know that riff?
Here it is.
What?
Isn't that it?
Who the fuck is that, Dan? Who's beeping? Someone's at the door.
Really?
Bobby, get the door.
Get the door.
Who is that, Dan? Is that Brian Jones? By the way, we have a guest today.
Jimmy Palumbo.
Oh, Palumbo's here. Christ. Turn him away. No, we love Jimmy. Jimmy's going to come in and give us his credits again.
Will he have a Rutgers shirt on?
Jim, how many Law and Orders you wearing? How many Law and Orders did you do in the? No, Brian Jones, who was on my direct TV show quite a bit, is a football expert. He played college and the pros. 5 years in the NFL, and he's going to talk football. There's a lot of football going on. Again, my lock of the week, guys, is 11. I guess that's a good lock. I like the Panthers getting 11 from Seattle. I think Seattle
went up a half point?
No,
it was
down.
10.5 yesterday.
It was 11.5.
It was 11.5.
Yeah, it went down half a point. So I like Seattle. And a guy, my ex-bookie I was talking to today, again, I do everything legal now. I got a guy at Mandalay Bay in the Mirage, whatever. Wink, wink, nod, nod. I talked to my ex-bookie, and he was making an excellent point. He thinks the Packers are going to destroy the Cowboys in Lambeau. And that's hard to... That's hard to argue against. I mean, the Cowboys have some momentum, but they almost lost to Detroit at home. They're going to have to score 70 points to beat the Packers. In Lambeau Field.
Is there was there some game where Green Bay played Dallas where Dallas ran up the points? Is that, am I weird? I don't know why I'm thinking that.
Not
this year.
Not to any of our past.
Is there a strong rival where these two teams hate each other?
Recently, not. Well, wait a minute. Look, they called some people besides that Colts Giant game called the greatest game ever played. The Ice Bowl was with Lombardi and Landry. The Ice Bowl was in Green Bay, and it was the Cowboys. They played the Cowboys. So since then, there's been a bit of a rivalry.
Okay, but not in the last.
Remember, Bart Starr was on the 1 yard line, and Lombardi goes, "Let's run this play and get the hell out of here."
I swear, there's some play
Get
where
the
they
hell
ran
out of
up
here.
I'm thinking Eagles Dallas. There's somewhere they ran
You're
it up.
ruining Christmas.
Jimmy Palumbo's our sports guy. He knows this.
By the way,
how'd the callback
Jimmy
go?
Palumbo is.
He had a callback today.
Jimmy Palumbo has confirmed that he's in Taken 3 with Liam.
Yes.
Are you really with Liam Neeson?
Sarcasm drips.
No.
It's good. It's a good deal.
Dude, it's fucking, you're going to get some checks for that. That's going to make a lot of scratch.
Here's one of my jokes. I was an extra in a radio commercial. Good night. Thank you for coming.
Nice.
That's one of my old ones.
Nice.
I like to.
Back in the early Prince of
I used to have
Prado days.
L.A. jokes about how hard acting was.
I liked it better when Mitch Hedberg told it in 1988. Yeah, sure. I guess you wrote that joke.
Oh, you weren't trying to have like a sports conversation with Joe Matarese.
That's bad, isn't it?
He doesn't really know.
Joe's one of those guys. You know, you got to talk to his brother.
My
His
brother's insane.
A real Eagles fan.
But
Joe's
he knows all sports,
but
my
Joe's
brother.
half a fruit when it comes
Just
to
ask him. Does he know who Mark Belanger is? No. All right, we're moving forward.
No.
It was, first of all, no one listening to the podcast knows who
is it?
I think
this is why this is where the ratings skyrocket
this
down.
is where I'm here to bring the show down.
Mark Belanger was one of the best fielding shortstops of all time. He played for the great Orioles teams in the 60s and early 70s.
Oh, God, how would I know that?
I mean, a lot of
He was also president of the American League.
Do you know Manny Trio?
Of course.
second baseman for the guy. He actually has the. What record does Manny Trio have? I'll give you a Manny Trio trivia. He might have been broken by somebody else, but I think he still has this record.
Hardest
1982.
Hardest on sidearm throw to
There's Harry
Pete Rose.
There's Harry Callis.
Harry Callis sitting in on the Artie Quitter podcast.
Let's do Harry Callis talking to Bill Maher. Yeah, Harry, I guess you're a good announcer.
I was one of the best Philadelphia history.
You're horrible.
I'm dead.
You probably believe in God.
I'm not alive anymore.
No, Manny Trio. You don't know this either, Jim?
What's his record?
He holds the record for most games in a row by a second baseman without an error.
Does he really?
Without making an error. And I believe he set that in the year of our Lord, 1982.
You know what? You know what record I saw at an L.A. Dodger game? Tatis
Moving Pictures by Rush?
hit.
No, that's the five home runs?
No,
or
he hit
two grand slams
in
one inning.
In the same inning.
In the same inning?
Off, here's the catch. Off the same pitcher. So the pitcher,
They left
first
him
of
in.
all, 8 RBIs.
Third run. Because in between
Chan-Ho Park,
in
whatever.
between him, he probably gave up a lot of runs.
Here's the crazy
In between
thing.
those two, he probably gave up 12 runs.
Mark McGwire that year hit like 110 home runs. Mark McGwire got up twice in that inning and struck out.
Did he?
Like literally, and then this guy hits. And when he got up to
That's
second,
a Reggie or Mantle
The
thing.
manager
Classic-
fall asleep or something? Is he
I wish-
taking a nap?
I wish Artie was there because a guy behind me, I'm sitting there and he gets up for the second time. And
Was it the guy behind me who yelled out, "Come on, Jeter, do it for Ron Kong, come on."
well, I'm like, 4 beers deep, and I'm like, I'm like, hey, this guy's getting
4 beers deep.
He just hit a grand slam. He's up for the second time. This would be wild if he hits one. I said, it's got to be a record.
Wait, were you at the game?
I was at the game. Guy behind me goes, no, dude, McGuire did it last year. I said, no one's
ever hit 2 grand slams.
Next thing you know, next
Dude, this should be a bit. You should do this bit. It needs an ending in the middle, but
no, but I saw it happen there.
No, you were at that game.
I saved the tickets.
Was that in L.A.?
Yeah.
Oh, and with the Cardinals?
Yeah, it was the guy,
Chan-Ho Park was pitching for the Dodgers.
What's his first name?
Tatis was a Cardinal. Fernando Tatis.
Fernando Tatis coming up for the second time. What the hell?
Monroe,
Guy hit a grand slam. He's up again with the bases loaded. What are the odds of this coming through?
Here's the guy. Hey, Tatis is up again. This guy hit a grand slam last time. Steve, what's going on here? Did he just hit another grand slam?
Who was the pitcher?
It can't be
Chan-Ho Park.
I thought it was Chan-Ho Park.
I'll tell you, these Asian Americans.
Chan-Ho Park.
If his name was Chan-Ho Park.
Let's do the two Harrys announcing. Ready? Harry
Like he'd be
Callis.
politically correct.
Harry Carey and Harry Callis announcing that, hey, Harry, this is Tatis. He's up again.
I can't believe he's up to plate again, and they're not taking the pitcher out.
I mean, what is the pitcher smoking angel does?
I don't know. I think the coach is on. He's on heroin in the dugout.
Somebody's
he fell
on
asleep.
crack. Tatis, first of all, you got Park to Tatis. You got an Asian to a Hispanic type. That's what the game's become. What happened to Cleveland Kenny Boyer?
Let's hear if Jimmy Palumbo remembers what pitch he hit it out. Was there a count when he hit it out?
Bad Marv Albert. Tatis getting involved
Do your
here.
John Sterling. Do your John
I was going to Jim Gordon alongside Dick Lynch. Looking, Tatis, looking, grand slam's got it.
Jim Gordon's Jim Gordon's my favorite
I
bit.
know. Well, I first met Artie.
Jim Gordon.
That's all we did was
my stand-up bit.
We would be in the car talking for an hour's drive, both of us doing Jim Gordon to each other.
Yeah.
People thought we were creepy.
No,
Artie turned it into millions of dollars, and I'm in Hoboken in a living room.
It's my living room.
This is a nice living room.
Him making mistakes. Well, you had a bet on the game, though. That's not even a bit. That was God's honest truth. Like, he announcing games on the radio, and he made mistakes. So Sims drops back, looking for a receiver. He's going way deep, long way down for Baker, baby. Touchdown, Giants. He dropped it. Jim, wait a minute. I mean, the timing. He talks right over the fucking punchline. You're like a drunk at helium.
Well, he's not a stand-up as much as we are. He
Yeah, but
does
he's got-
do
Oh,
stand-up.
I didn't really, the great Joe
Does
Mattery.
do stand-up though.
All right.
He's a comic.
You know what's funny?
Stand-up comic.
I hate when
All right, well, I'm
you
just saying.
ever do phone-ins on the radio and they're like they ask you to do
Only
this.
1,000 times.
I just did one in Philly. The guy goes, "Give me one of your best bits," which is like the worst thing
That
on
is-
radio.
that's
So I
terrible.
start a bit about the Dallas Cowboys because it was a sports talk. The guy starts to fade out the commercial in the middle of it. I go, dude, you don't. I'm gonna yell at you now. You can't cut off a comedian's bit.
That
know.
is horrible.
You asked for one and then you cut me off.
But those guys, a lot of those DJs are so arrogant, and they hate comics because they're jealous. They want to be a comedian, and they want to make fun of you. Hey, how's the career going? I guess it's half sold out over there at Yuck Yucks. Like, shut the fuck up.
Especially
shut
on
up, you asshole.
On sports talk,
Yeah,
it's
but
a
you
little
guys,
hard.
Sometimes you guys are at a different level stand-up wise than I am, but you guys forget hanging out with a bunch of arrogant, successful stand-up comics. There's nothing.
I've never done
It's the
that.
worst 2 hours of your life because it's all like
Yeah, no. Well,
it's the most,
name
it's like, oh,
names. Who you
shut the
talking
fuck
about?
up.
Who you talking about?
A lot of people walk around and think and you find out they
You
do have
still-
nothing going on, but an hour set. It's like,
How
shut
many
up.
times have you told me you think Ray Romano's a load? Let's be honest.
No, here's another
Who
guy.
are you talking about? What
brags.
arrogant
No,
stand-ups
sometimes
are you talking about?
I'm talking about the nameless headliners, and they're acting like they got the
But how
greatest
often
career
have
in
you
the
done
world.
that?
Enough times where you're like,
I'm
I got to get out of
calling
this.
bullshit on this story.
Really?
No,
You've hung out with a bunch of arrogant headline
They're
stand-up
just-
comics.
They act a little bit like, look
Where?
at me, I do
Where have
stand
you hung
up
out with them?
at the shitty venues that I do, but
the
they're all
Ramsey-
headliners.
the
I'm not gonna
Ramsey
mention
Starbucks?
names. That's a dick
Dude,
move.
first of all, my cousins are listening. That's
I
it.
don't
Second
care.
of all,
Is your cousin?
My cousins don't want to pay. Second of all,
they're sharing the password.
What did you name names? This is the podcast. I'm naming names. I talked about a racist sketch.
Yeah, give us a name.
Goodwill Smith.
Because I think comedians that are at a high level usually are the opposite. They're very insecure and they don't usually brag. It's usually the shitty comedians that act like they're at a higher level.
That's what you're talking about. You're
shitty.
talking about shitty comics. That's why you get pissed off.
Well,
the really good comics, like Dave Attell, if you talk to him, you'd think he was the unfunniest person on the planet. They're very self-deprecating. Norm always thinks he bombs.
Right.
Joe is very self-deprecating. You talk to these shitty comics, they have this wall up where, like, they could just bomb for 20 minutes at the strip or something, and they go, the comic strip.
Yeah, I did.
That's like saying curb. But the comic strip, and you think they were just George Carlin at Carnegie Hall. I mean, it's crazy.
When I was on the set of
Jimmy, your thoughts?
I was on the set of T3. Does that mean Taken 3? What was it, T2? What was it, Terminator 2? You hated someone used to do that?
T2, of course. What is this?
Analytics. What I'm talking about.
Oh, this is the great Chicago Dan Filato, the great producer. Record holders for consecutive games played without an error at each position. He's not even on the list, Trio. I guess I fucked up.
He just made that up.
No, catcher, second baseman's Placido. No, okay. It was broken in 2008.
Oh, he got it broken. He must have.
But look, he didn't make an error for 3 seasons.
A lot's happened to you since 2008. You know, I can see how you can misfire on a statistic.
Dude,
an old
1982 is when Trio did it. The shit that's happened to me since 1982. No,
your Yankee ability ended when Nettles retired. Then,
Placido Polanco didn't make an error for 4 years.
That's great.
That's
186 games.
Who else?
Jeff Cirillo at third base, 99 straight games. Tied with him, John Wayner, 99 straight games. Mike Bordick at shortstop. I remember
I
Bordick.
see Jimmy Rollins here.
You know what? Like,
This is
I don't think
something else.
errors should
What are you
count.
just handing me Jimmy Rollins for?
I don't think errors should count like in the outfield. Like, I mean, like, who
what are you
cares that
talking
Torrey
about?
Hunter?
The guy drops a fly
No,
ball.
I'm just saying, like, it's stupid. The infield is what you really want. You want a guy to catch a ball and throw the guy out.
Can I just read
Lazy
What
flies
you
to
just
center.
said makes no sense.
No, I'm going to give
Dude,
Torrey.
what-
You're going to put
you're not
Torrey
gonna
Hunter.
count errors in the
No,
outfield?
I didn't mean count them, but like you're going to put Torrey Hunter's a streak with Manny Trios or any of these other guys.
No one's
Come
doing
on.
that. He just pulled the stats. These
know,
are
but-
facts. No one's arguing with you.
Read the transcripts of the trial.
I have to read Jimmy Rollins's. Did you just skip over shortstop?
No, dude, I don't have the same piece of paper. I have this one. I was
Yeah,
looking
but
at
he
this
plays-
one.
Oh, okay.
Shortstop, I have Mike Bordick at shortstop.
I have to read this as Harry Callis. Hold on.
Oh, that's because
Shortstop Jimmy Rollins says here Rollins is noted for his range at shortstops, which makes ability to avoid defensive miscues even more impressive. The 3-time Gold Glove player, a franchise record 86 straight games, 84 starts without an error from May 31st to September
Joe,
9th.
there's a lot of things you have to do. Reading that as Harry Callis was not one of them.
That was fun. I felt like I was on the MLB network.
we shot
Jim, maybe you'll
they
like
shot
this.
roots in last time to get that bit
I
out.
pitched the sketch. I pitched the sketch at Mad TV. Goodwill Smith instead of Goodwill Hunting. Where he's a janitor at a high school, Will Smith, and the problem is 2 + 2 on the board. It took our professors 4 years to figure out this. Not getting much. Foghorn Leghorn.
We're such needy
next time-
comics.
the
It's
next
like a
time I
new
come-
guy's here. I got to
No.
do it.
And next
Anybody?
time I come here, I'm bringing. I went on an audition with Artie in probably 1992. Artie probably knows the exact day.
This is an example of a story. There's no reason to have the mics on. Now go ahead.
Artie wrote some what we thought were brilliant jokes, and I still think they're funny.
Wait, you talking about the
the,
jerks from Jersey guys?
No, the one we went into that audition, we had to do the play on the names, the Schwarzenegger movies, and remember we went in with
I wrote a lot of
We
bad
did construction guy.
A couple of those jokes I liked. We were like, you talking about?
I laughed out loud about a month ago. I read them; they're funny as hell to me.
I can't. Well, one was like, I can't go over the George Washington Bridge. I'm afraid of big bridges. I have an aunt with a similar problem. She's afraid of Lloyd Bridge. Like,
What were you supposed to be?
We were two jerks. I still
Two
one,
jerks from
one was.
Jersey.
How about that? He goes, your deals always suck. What about that time I got us free parking for a whole month at Yankee Stadium? Yeah, the month of February. Those were pretty good.
Remember
You're
Sinatra?
like a comedy team.
Sinatra tickets for Tina Sinatra.
Tina.
I said, how about that time I got a Sinatra tickets, $200 a pop? Yeah, who wouldn't pay that to see Tina Sinatra?
And we went into this room with our tool belts on. We were like construction hats on, and the lady.
It's a famous bit. You saw this. It was a great time for comedy. It was that. It was Upright Citizens Brigade.
Well, that's when Joe didn't really talk to us because he was with.
I didn't know
comics.
you guys then.
Joe got knocked down a few. Joe was a very arrogant young man.
Yes, you were. A little
Yes,
bit.
you were with the
You were
black
one of
leather
those.
jacket and stand up New York.
You remember the leather jacket?
You were knee deep in pussy.
Yeah,
That was a good jacket.
You strolled in acting like you averaged 25 points a game. You
remember.
ran into Artie Lang. He held you
No,
to 6.
first of all, Jimmy is. You're the one he's talking about.
No.
You're the one.
No.
You had Joe. That was so passive aggressive. You had Joe in mind. What about those asshole comics?
No.
You had a 28-year-old Joe Matarese.
Me and Joe discussed this. In the beginning, we didn't know each other, so you probably thought we were two assholes, and we thought you were a little
remember
arrogant.
me.
I
He
met you
does.
guys playing softball because I would play your team
At the
in the Monday Broadway show.
Yeah.
Which that deserves its own show.
Were you guys on the same team?
Yeah, we were.
Which
those
team
were
you on?
fun. Well, we played for an actual Broadway play. We were ringers.
They brought you in.
The Sisters.
Tony Roberts
Rosenzweig.
pitching.
What team?
The Sisters Rosenzweig.
Yeah, we were pretty good. Dan Landon.
If Jimmy would shut up, I'll tell you the name of the team. The Sisters Rosenzweig was the name of the play.
Okay.
The biggest chick play ever. Me and Jimmy were ringers, but it was so much fun. We played Mondays and Thursday mornings at 11:30.
Did you play first?
No, I played short and third.
Okay, 'cause I played third,
I was
too, right.
thinner. There were hot chicks in the league, and homeless guys would come around. They would buy Heinekens for $2 and sell them for $4. I don't know how they invented a cardboard box. They were the coldest beers I've ever.
That's true.
But you'd swig to it, and you got a buzz going.
The best,
I loved
the
it.
best part about it was Artie and I. We were like, $4 beers, and they're like 24-ounce.
Doing
buds.
key hits a blow behind the carousel.
Yeah, but the problem was the rest of the team was like.
The carousel's there.
The rest of the team tried to tell. Remember the guys? Hey Art and Jimmy, try not to have beers till maybe like the 7th inning. Like, we would be half in a bag. Like,
Really?
yeah.
No one I ever played with
These
would do
fruits
that.
were dead sober. They're 0 for 5. I'm like, dude, I'm 3 for 4 with 2 doubles, and I'm wasted.
So great.
You gotta because the fucking third baseman was a dance instructor. You're roping it down his fucking face.
See, I played at the 2:00 league, and I think you played in that too.
We played
on
in that.
Monday.
I played
Were
a
you
little-
on a comic strip?
First for comic strip for many years, then
Was that
Lucian passed
Lucian
away.
before his fingers fell
Yeah,
off?
but his fingers started falling off towards the end of
Lucian
when
Halter
he was
ran
playing.
the comic strip. Real arrogant guy. I don't want to speak ill of that, but very arrogant guy. But he judged comedians about whether or not you could go up at the comic strip, which is an important club. He died of lupus.
Yeah.
So
Well,
his
Florentine,
fingers fell off.
Jim
literally.
Florentine and I were Jersey guys with this other comic, Eric McMahon.
Florentine.
And we would meet on the Jersey Turnpike to go play on Lucian's team. I lived in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. This is a 2-hour commute to just play softball.
I did it-
because he would give you spots if you
Not
had,
worse than a 2-hour story.
if you went 2 for 4, you'd get
No, it was
fucking
great.
3 spots the next
Oh,
night.
yeah, really? Is that
Yeah,
true?
so Florentine and I were really good softball players. So we go.
Jimmy was a great player, lefty. He put a throw left, hit left.
First of all, do you remember the first day the
we got
Broadway show
to take a break. Wait 1 second. I'm sorry.
I just want to talk about Artie giving Mary Steenburgen a hug, which is
The actress Mary Steenburgen. I hugged her drunk.
she came.
I
up
hugged
to
her a
Artie-
little too long.
But
In
here's the-
softball?
Wait a minute. She came up to Artie and said, "Artie, I love the play." Didn't say Artie though. She said, "I love the play." Gave him a hug. I'm thinking, does she think Artie's in Sister Rosenzweig? I mean, how off can you be?
All right, we have to. How dare you? How dare you? Are you saying I couldn't be in that? All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, is Brian Jones going to join us?
Yes.
Brian Jones, who's a black guy, is going to join us when we come back. He knows about football. Played in the NFL for 5 years. He's a friend of mine, friend of the show. Good man. We appreciate it. He's officially our first guest. Artie Quitter Podcast. We're having a blast here. Jimmy Palumbo, Matarese, flipping behind the glass, and the great Dan Filato. Brian Jones talking football when we return. Hey, welcome back to the Artie Quitter Podcast. We're hoping Brian Jones calls, or we call him and he's there. So far, not good, but we can't get the big guests. A lot of these big A-listers, they blow you off. Brian Jones, who's on, I believe, from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. on CBS Sports. Not able to get him on the podcast. Joe Matarese has got some plugs. Let's get to some plugs for Joe's career.
All right. I have to do these quick plugs because, as you know, if you've been listening since day one of the Artie Quitter podcast, my son gets off the bus at 3:45.
God, nobody cares about that.
No one cares.
No, but
I got a plug in the middle of the show.
No one knows why. Well, that's all right.
That's why I'm doing it.
Well, it's only 8 degrees out, so he can stay there for a little bit if you're late.
I left the front door open, dude. It's like I trust my neighborhood, but I leave it open. Hope he's smart enough to push it open.
What's that expression? Just give me the baby. Don't give me the. I don't want to hear you're pregnant. Just give me the baby.
I never heard that one. I think that's my whole life.
I'm paraphrasing.
I'm that guy that always fucking
What
talks
is that
too
term?
much.
It's like, I don't want to hear you're pregnant. Just give me the baby. Something like that. All right, go ahead, Joe. Joe's plug.
So I'll be at the Bust a Gut Comedy Club in Toms River, New Jersey.
First of all, Bust a Gut in Toms River.
Isn't that great?
That is great.
January 23rd and 24th. Okay. Come out. Go to joematarese.com if you want more info about me. Follow me on Twitter at the Joe Matarese, and listen to my podcast. It goes up every Thursday called Fixing Joe, where I bring celebs in to try to fix whatever my issue is of the
I've been on it plenty of times. Great podcast.
Yes. So that's it. That's my plug.
What have you found that since websites have come into play as a comic, you can consolidate the plugs? Like, do you feel like maybe if you just say the website, it's enough, or you still have to?
I always wonder that. It's a good question because it's all up on the website.
Because when you do a talk show like the Night Show or something, they don't want to hear 5 million plugs.
No.
And even Howard got like that at the end, and I respected Howard for that. You can't want somebody like Levy would come on with 4,000 plugs. It would take an hour. If you have a podcast, if you have a website, you just get to it. So that's it.
JoeMatarese.com, and then you got it. It's all there.
Brian Jones is on the phone. My old buddy Brian Jones. I thank him so much for calling in. Brian, you there?
I'm here, baby. How are you, Artie?
How you doing, man?
Sounds better than us.
Yeah, no, Brian Jones is a great broadcaster, was a great football player, and University of Texas. And
Hook 'em horns.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And has fought racism his entire life. Is that true? Now, Brian, I pitched this sketch when I was at Mad TV. I've been telling the guys feel it's racist. I don't think they have a sense of humor. Would you think, as an African American, this is a racist sketch? You know the movie Good Will Hunting?
Yes.
I pitched a sketch called Good Will Smith, where Will Smith is a janitor at a high school, and the problem on the board is 2 + 2. And the professor talks like Amos and Andy's guy. Like, it took our professors 4 years to figure out this one.
What's 2 + 2? 44. It is.
See already, you could have played him.
Head of state.
See, Brian has a sense of humor.
I thought of a more racist joke. You could have him just work at a Goodwill. Like Goodwill Smith.
That's killing with Brian.
He works at the Goodwill.
Listen, if we listen,
hey, we don't deal in wheels. We don't leave nothing for our folks.
Listen, we're talking to two guineas from Jersey. We'll make it way more racist if we talk about it enough. We'll get this it'll be a Klan meeting pretty soon. But
no clans invited.
Brian, just so you know, you're talking to Joe Matarese, who's from South Jersey, big Eagle fan, great comedian, and Jimmy Palumbo, my other buddy from North Jersey, great actor, comic, and big sports fan. So they're with me here.
So he's an Eagles fan. Go Cowboys.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Listen, I know you're more of a college guy. Can we concentrate on the pros? Do you mind that?
Yeah, come on.
All right, my lock of the week. Tell me if you think. Again, I fell off the gambling wagon. If maybe if you watch Entertainment Tonight, you saw this. It was in the birthdays. No, I feel now a lot of people like Green Bay giving 6 at Lambeau to Dallas. Look, you got to score 70 points to beat them at Lambeau. For some reason, I like Seattle giving 11 to Carolina better. I don't feel Carolina belongs in the playoffs. It's a fluke, under 500. I think Seattle's going to make a statement. They're rested, and that's the lock. Which game do you like better with the spread? Your thoughts?
You know what? I think I agree with you. And although Carolina has a hell of a defense with Kuechly and Davis, they play outstanding. That front four can really get out the quarterbacks. But I love the way that Russell Wilson can extend plays. So he won't be a Ryan Lindley who couldn't do a damn thing.
Right.
Only threw for like 52 yards. So Russell Wilson extending plays, making life miserable for that front seven of Carolina. I like that 11, man. I'm with you there.
Well, listen, I really think they're going to make a statement and win by like 30 points easy. I'm not fully sold on Cam Newton, but you bring up a great point in Russell Wilson. He's doing what I think they thought RG3 was going to do in the pros, running that style of quarterback. Do you think he's clearly doing it in an excellent way, but do you think that style of quarterback has longevity?
Well, what Russell Wilson does while he's extending plays and being elusive, he still has his eyes downfield. Right. But he'll still take off and run. We've seen Andrew Luck do that last week versus Cincinnati. Everyone's covered, big hole in the middle of the field. Yeah. He exploits that. But yet, those guys still have their eyes downfield. They're not taking big shots. Russell Wilson knows how to get out of bounds, knows how to slide, whereas RG3 did. And Russell Wilson has a better grasp of his offense than did RG3 of his. And Russell Wilson is very adept at identifying coverages, checking out of things. And that's where you make your hay in the league. And you've got to have that anticipation as well. You know, we're talking about Jameis Winston declaring today he's going to enter the draft, and Winston or Mariota. Who do you want? I'm taking Winston all day long. He looks the part of a pro. He can make all the throws of a pro. Of course, it's a different animal once you get to that level. But I think from an anticipation standpoint, Winston is the better pick.
Well, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought up the Winston Mariota thing. A lot of people, I think, would disagree with you. I respect that opinion. It's a little controversial because a lot of people think Winston might be a bit of a head case, blah, 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 and a college player, not a pro player. But it's a no-brainer for you. Winston is your pick.
It is a no-brainer. Even in that ass whipping they took from Oregon in the Rose Bowl, the guy was dynamite. I thought he was fantastic, and I sent out a tweet sitting there watching that before it really got out of hand and said, hey, don't get this misconstrued. I'm not condoning one iota the things he's been accused of doing, of things he has done, but from a purely football standpoint, he's your guy. He's playing in a pro-style offense. He's more athletic than he tends to showcase. He can make all the throws. He can anticipate. He can fit the ball in tight windows. That's the key, whereas Mariota, who's an outstanding quarterback, he's been a great quarterback, Oregon's first Heisman Trophy winner, he was throwing the guys that were wide open. I need to see him thread the needle, man. I need to see him anticipate, throw guys open. And that's not a knock on him. I mean, I just haven't seen it. That's what I need to see, especially at the next level.
From a standpoint, though, of comedy, you could work iota into Mariota, if as far as tweets are concerned. So, real quick, my last question before I let a couple of the other guys get into it here. If you had one quarterback to pick to build a team around in the NFL, to me, it's Aaron Rodgers. Wilson's up there, but who do you take?
Yeah, Aaron is there, my top one, 1A, 1B, and then Tom Brady. And it's really a beauty contest, guys. Yeah. That's not a snub of anyone else. I love Russell Wilson. I thought coming out of college he was going to be dynamite. And I was right. Everyone was pointing to his height. He doesn't have all the metrics, the prototypical size. Hell with that, the guy commanded offense at NC State. He transfers to Wisconsin, immediately wins that locker room over, is named captain, leads them to a Big Ten championship. They go to the Rose Bowl. They lose, but the guy had everything you wanted from the qualities of leadership and a smart football player. So he had that football IQ. But I would say Rodgers and Brady, those would be my top two. And once again, it's a beauty contest. I just love their style, the way they go about it.
Well, if it's a beauty contest, Tom Brady all the way. I would fuck the shit out of him. And I'm as heterosexual as they come, but he looks like he could be the lead singer of One Direction, Tom Brady. So go ahead.
I'm gonna let you have that one.
I know. In the black community, that's very, very. You're down.
Yeah, we just gonna let that one breathe.
With Italians, Italians is the same thing. But here's Jimmy Palumbo. I want to ask you something.
Hey, Brian, you're talking about quarterbacks, but you got Mariota kind of in a unique system at Oregon, a very bad team to play when you don't play them all the time. And you just mentioned Brady, who really didn't do that much in college. He's one of your big, strong pocket passers.
Hot.
And he did nothing in college, let's face it. And he
came in number 190 pick, right? Something like that.
Well, and then you got guys that are your more rollout quarterbacks that have movement. What's the difference between, how do you judge a guy who has a little movement but can stay in the pocket? Because that to me is where, like Geno Smith was a dominant college football player. I watched that guy play. He was awesome. He gets to the pros, and all of a sudden it doesn't all come together. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I beg to differ with you on Tom. He was a good quarterback in college. I mean, were they winning national titles? No, but he was still a damn good quarterback. Everyone just thought he was too puny, too skinny,
Michigan,
and fragile,
right?
much like they thought of Teddy Bridgewater. Look at the year he had. I think he had 14 touchdowns. Yeah, he had the 12 picks. You expect that from a rookie, but he threw for almost 3,000 yards and didn't even start the season as a starter. So
Brady didn't light it up like some of the quarterbacks at Winston and these guys were talking about.
Well, the key, once again, is, one, you got to get into that playbook, man. When you get the pros, everyone's fast, everyone's athletic. How do you set yourself apart? Well, it's by your football IQ. It's by you putting the work in, the extra work in. It's also by, from a quarterback standpoint, you got to be able to anticipate and throw guys open. You got to elevate the play of others, and that's what Tom Brady has brought to the table. He's a guy that can elevate the play of others. I mean, he's never really had those marquee guys around him. He had Moss. Randy Moss at one time. You know, you look at Gronk now. Yeah, he's a big superstar. Aaron Hernandez before he went all crazy and started.
There's also there's the head coach
full of land, allegedly.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, Jimmy the Greek and several scientists have pointed this out. I'm curious. In the pros, would you rather have the extra bone in your ankle like the blacks or the bigger white brain?
You are nuts.
Neither one of those is true, of course. Jimmy the Greek with a few cocktails in him.
Is that why my ankles hurt all the time?
No, listen. I
thought that was just that gout.
Listen. No, I agree. I think you're underrating Brady a little bit as well in college. I remember him not being so god awful.
You know, he didn't start, I don't think, to the last 5 games.
But a lot, Winston, the Winston Mariota thing is an interesting argument, and I was, Brian, that's why you're a good guest. You go the other way there. A lot of people are down on Winston.
What do you think of Bortles?
Well, yeah, they're down on him because of all the off the field stuff. You got all these water walkers who want to castigate the young man. He made some stupid mistakes. The other deal, the allegations, which have never gone to court or anything. They just investigated again with a former Supreme Court judge there in Florida State. And people would say, it wasn't a legitimate proceeding. Well, okay, whatever. Yeah, and once you especially these college football, and once they have their tentacles out, they want to get you. They want to draw blood, and they haven't been able to do that. So,
you're right.
Once again, I'm not condoning any of the mistakes the guy made. Hell, I'm just glad they didn't have all his Twitter and cell phones around when I was doing my dirt way back in the day.
You're so right. You're so right.
I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So, as far as Bortles, I think he's going to be a damn good quarterback. He's got the arm and everything you want from a leadership standpoint. I think he's going to be fine.
You're so right, man. When somebody fucks up, says something wrong, or that could be considered offensive, or gets involved with the law, these whatever you want to call it, politically correct people, they come out of the woodwork and they don't stop till they take something from you. They want your livelihood.
And it's alleged. Nothing's been proven yet, but all you have to be is alleged.
Right.
Damn, you're guilty. It's not innocent till proven guilty. It's guilty till proven innocent.
Right. How do you think, college-wise, how do you think this new system is working out? Do you like it?
Well, I thought it was ludicrous how they arrived at the 4 teams. I have no problem with the 4 playoff teams, now down to 2, of course. I have no problem with that. But the way they arrived at it and the rationale they used to boot Baylor and TCU out of there, it was just ludicrous. It really came down to brand identity. You had teams with cachet, Ohio State, who overtook Baylor and TCU. Now, if that's a Texas sitting there at 11-1, or an Oklahoma sitting there at 11-1 out of the Big 12,
right,
where TCU and Baylor were sitting, there's no way that occurs. So it was all about name recognition.
Yeah. It's unbelievable, though. You're right. Condoleezza Rice and Condoleezza Rice is a brilliant woman, but she's picking the teams, some of the other idiots on that panel.
Yeah, but I think Ohio State got a bad rap there. I mean, as the 4th team that didn't deserve it. I mean, they were down to their 11th-string quarterback, and they still were able to, go 11-1.
Oh, no. I agree with you. I like the 4. I thought it was fine. Like I said, I just don't like the way they arrived at the 4, the rationale they utilized which was bogus. I mean, just say, hey, Ohio State's got a history that Baylor and TCU don't have. Just come out and say it. Don't give me all that other bull dookie.
Yeah, so you agree with the outcome, just not how they did it. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
What? Back to the pros. So what prediction-wise, you like the Packers and you like Seattle. Give us some AFC thoughts.
Well, New England, they've had issues with the Ravens in the playoffs, and at home, New England is 1-2 in the past versus the Ravens. So I think that's going to be a tough ball game. But I like New England winning the ball game. I just don't think the Ravens are going to have enough, especially defensively, to stop them. If they can run the rock, they may make it closer, but I don't see that happening. I like New England.
Think New England's going to go to the bowl?
Yeah. I do. You got Denver taking on the Colts. Colts don't have enough defense to stop Denver, and Denver's been able to run the ball now. C.J. Anderson has brought them a lot of balance. Some concerns with Peyton Manning, whether or not that arm is bothering him at the beginning of the weekend. But with a week off, a lot of rest, they should be okay. So I see Denver heading to Foxborough and New England exacting some revenge on them from last year's playoff.
Don't you think the Cowboys are a bad matchup for Green Bay? I mean, the Cowboys have an offense
in Lambeau. That's the big deal.
You know what? The Giants have beaten them there in playoffs. I think that the Cowboys are a bad match. They got, with the running game, the offensive line, one of the best wide receivers. I think one of the best tight ends of all time. Is Green Bay going to be able to, is they're going to be able to stop the Cowboys, especially if either one of them gets a lead?
That's a big question, and hopefully they can generate that running game. I think they only had 75 yards last week versus the league's second best rush defense in Detroit. But the Cowboys, I think, are going to have to outscore Green Bay because I don't believe their defense, this no-name defense that has just played above their abilities all season long. I think they can get exposed in a game like this. They were to a certain extent last week versus the Lions. They don't have a consistent pass rush. You got to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers if you're going to beat Green Bay. We know they're undefeated at home. We know the Cowboys are undefeated on the road as well. So that's not going to scare them. But the fact that they just don't have that guy that can put consistent pressure on Aaron Rodgers, I don't think that bodes well for them.
How many slaves working for a clothing company in the Philippines are knitting together sweaters that'll cover the baloney tits of Chris Christie when he goes to Lambeau in that freezing cold weather? Will they knit together 5 cashmere sweaters to cover his traitor baloney tits?
If you go to a damn Cowboys game, at least wear the team colors. What's an orange sweater?
He's the Jersey governor. He's fucking at a Cowboy game, high-fiving Jerry Jones. Fuck him and his baloney tits. And there's not a jacket big enough to cover his cunt baloney tits and fucking Lambeau Field. Your thoughts?
Hey, they're going to need him in that box in Lambeau. It's going to be cold, so he can keep him warm.
By the way,
one bear hug and everyone will be fine.
What is the weather for Sunday?
Cold.
But is it rainy? Snowy, or is it just cold?
It's just, to me, it's I agree with you, Jim, about the matchup. In Dallas, a different story. But don't you think, Brian, Lambeau, they're going to have to score 70 points to beat them?
A very average Giant team went up there and beat them a couple of years back.
But dude, a couple of years ago, the Colts also beat the Giants with Johnny Unitas in 1959.
I just think the Cowboys, as much as I hate the Cowboys, I think everybody's like, they're not that good.
Watch your mouth.
He's
now.
a Cowboy guy.
I know.
But listen, would you be afraid to be in the booth with the baloney tits Christie as he ate all the food? Don't you think there's nothing in the buffet?
You make sure you get there early. You don't have to tell him. You don't have to tell him come and get it twice.
You know you're a fat guy, Brian, if I'm making fat jokes about you.
I just hate that Mercedes-Benz national headquarters leaves New Jersey yesterday, and Christie's out in Dallas farting around with Jerry Jones. He's a bum.
Well, so
I saw that. They're heading down south.
They're going to Atlanta.
We're out of here.
Let me tell you something. And I'll tell you what, Christie is clearly a Jersey Gindaloon who has got a lot of fucking controversy in his bag with scandals. Calling attention to yourself, not a good idea. Like these backdoor deals that are going on. I think him and Jerry Jones might have done something that they're going to get in trouble for.
Maybe he's trying to associate himself with Jerry so he can get in the oil business, get out of the politics.
That's what it sounds like. You want money. Nothing but money and oil, man. It just keeps coming out of the fucking ground.
So
Texas gold, black tea.
You're right. You're right. Texas tea.
So Monday, you like Oregon?
No, I like Ohio State Monday. I'm going with Ohio State. I thought they had enough offense and firepower from a speed standpoint to knock off Bama. I still thought Bama would win, but I thought they had enough to put pressure on their one Achilles heel, which is the back end, that secondary for Bama, and they did just that.
I didn't
expect Cardale Jones to play as well as he did. I like Ohio State in this ballgame. It's going to be a track meet. Both have a ton of athletes.
I think the slippers are coming off Ohio State. I think that quarterback is going to have just an average game for Ohio State. I'm a Big Ten fan because I'm a Rutgers fan, God forbid. But I just think that machine in green there, man, they're just going to start scoring too many points, and Ohio State's not going to be able to handle it. That's what
we'll see. I think Ohio State can match them. I think they can with their speed. I think they can match them point for point.
Now, you know who Britt McHenry is, the ESPN reporter?
Yes.
With enough booze in her, do you think you could fuck her at a party? I think with enough booze, I could fuck her.
You are on one today. You are terrible.
She might be the hottest chick I've ever seen, and she's marrying Thor, the guy who played Thor. Come on, Bri, you're a ladies' man. You got to tap that before she gets married. Wreck that marriage. Wreck that marriage. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, tell her, forget Thor. How about the Brown Hornet?
Yeah, you know what? Have a kid with her. That kid would win the mulatto. The Brown Hornet. She is. Do you ever met her? She's smoking.
Yes.
I've seen her on television, Artie.
Yeah, no, she's hot.
You don't want her to start hitting threes on
She's
you.
hot. By the way, so you got a new job, I hear? Congrats in order or what?
Yeah, morning drive. Gio and Jones. Greg Giannotti came in from Pittsburgh. Was a long-time employee here at the Fan. Then he went to Pittsburgh and hosted a morning drive show there. So they partnered with me with him, 6 to 9, CBS Sports Radio Network, Gio and Jones.
Great. Well, listen, man, you're officially our first guest. It's our third day. And I couldn't think of a better one. Bri, you are funny. You got a great sense of humor. You know your shit. So thank you. Please come on in, anytime. And if you need me in there, I'd love to come and hang.
You got it, buddy. Appreciate you, Artie.
Yeah, Bri, great job. That's the great Brian Jones. And I'm with Jimmy Palumbo. Joe Matarese had to go pick up his kid. We're going to come back. A couple more little things when we come back, and we'll wrap up the Artie Quitter podcast on this blustery Wednesday. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Artie Quitter podcast. There is nothing more entertaining than watching Jim Palumbo eat a roast beef and cheddar cheese sandwich on an onion roll with a little oil and vinegar to dunk it in. That's what we did during the break. Some sandwiches from here in Hoboken.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't go to, it's from King's.
No, I know, you're right. I told Dan that.
He doesn't know.
Dan's from Chicago.
I figured he'd come to Artie Lang's podcast.
Dan's one of those Midwestern Italians that he goes, oh, yeah, we got some brats. We got some, I'll tell you what, we got some sausages, some Italian beef. When they say Italian beef, they say Italian beef and sausage in Chicago instead of sausage. I hate that.
I thought it'd be like some nice provolone or prosciutto.
We got Italian beef. One time I was in Chicago, there's an Italian beef festival. You going to go to the Italian beef festival? You got to do that.
What do they call them? Red Hots, too? What are those? Red Hots?
Red Hot Brats. Red Hot Brats. I'm looking at this chick I was talking to Brian Jones about, Britt McHenry. She's only the hottest thing on the fucking planet Earth, 23 years old, and she's a sideline reporter for ESPN. If you're that hot, you can't know that much about football. You just can't. You can't know about, the way slobs like myself who've been gambling and losing money on shitty secondaries since I was 19 years old. A lot of money, too. Money I didn't fucking have. There's no way this broad knows what I know or is as passionate as I'm, but she looks like she's an 11. And she's marrying the guy who played Thor, which really pisses you off. Jim, your thoughts?
Yeah, how do they... they're prepared for the event they cover, but they don't know. They don't know things.
That's right. It's all preparation. And I hate preparation. If you got to prepare, it means you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Honestly, but she is smoking. Britt McHenry, look her up. I saw her the other day, and I was like, yeah, I tweeted, where the fuck do they find these broads?
She does not run like a catcher.
No, nobody knows what you're talking about. But no, it's a little aggravating that, these hot chicks are taking jobs away from ugly guys.
Yeah.
Ugly guys, they deserve this. And when we grew up, everybody looked like Jimmy the Greek. The hottest thing on TV was Brian Gumbel talking about sport.
Right.
But she's, of course, got.
She's no Irv Cross.
I loved Irv Cross. What was weird, though? I think it all changed when Joe Namath. What's the name of that chick, Joe Namath? He was drunk. That's still one of my favorite clips. What was her name?
Susie Colbert.
Susie Colbert. Oh, God, that was so funny. I don't care if the team is struggling. I want to kiss you. The way he said struggling. I don't care if the team is struggling.
So embarrassing.
And he had to publicly apologize and say, who's an alcoholic? Joe fucking Namath, man. And Susie Colbert, who on a good day is a 6.5.
That's what made it funnier.
I mean, it's Joe Namath. In 1968, she would have been begging to blow him. Begging to fucking suck his dick. And she looks at him like he's a disgusting grandfather who has, gravy on his face. That's what she looked like. Like, oh, you're grossing me out. It's Joe Willie, man. This is Joe. I don't care if the team is struggling. I want to kiss you.
Yeah, that was a low moment for. I think low moment for Joe Namath for him.
Of course, low moments for the Jet fans. Hey, listen, how about the fact that that's what happens to good-looking people? They eventually get their comeuppance. Especially if you're an athlete. If you can't play like the way he played with the Jets. If you're not good looking anymore, eventually you got to add to the conversation. You can't be boring anymore. This happened to Demi Moore and Heather Locklear in recent years. They weren't hot anymore. They hit their mid 40s, and people stopped thinking their stories were funny. You know what I mean?
I did margin call with Demi Moore, and you do not want to play her in the first round.
What's
of the
margin
playoffs.
call?
Another movie I did called Margin.
How long ago, though? You keep bringing up
4 years ago.
A lot happens. A lot happens in 4 years. The wall could come and hit that chick before she even knows it. In 4 years' time.
When you're playing the 12:30 Thursday game against Demi Moore,
you see me
you're not happy with that seating.
You see me 4 years ago? I looked like David Beckham. A lot's happened. I'm just saying, when you and Heather Locklear started to go nuts again for a 45-year-old. Yeah, she's hot. I wouldn't not fuck her. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that they're not 23 anymore. And you know what? That story about my makeup artist always got laughs. You're not laughing at it anymore. No, because we walk around you now like you're a shrub. Because nobody thinks you're interesting because you don't look good anymore.
I think she's still hot enough to...
Again, for us, Jim, I know. I point well taken. But they're not one of the hottest chicks on the planet anymore.
Michelle Pfeiffer's still hot? Come on.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer's old, man. She's old. Take a look at her lately. You don't see her anymore.
Give her time. She'll pick you apart.
She looks like Mick Jagger.
Farragamo simply is that all?
That's being a little harsh. It doesn't look like Mick Jagger. All right. I'm going to do a little self-promotion.
She's hot, man. I'm telling you.
I'm going to do a little self-promotion here. Guy reviewed my stand-up special, Stench of Failure. The reason I'm bringing this up is it's on demand. It might be on iTunes. But he gave it 3 out of 4 stars. And I appreciate it. The guy gets it. Like sometimes reviewers get it. The critics were kind to me on this one, which is not a regular thing in my career. But this guy figured it out. He's a guy named Steve Pulaski. And if you go to the Steve Pulaski message board, you can Google him. Steve, spelled like Steve, Pulaski, Pulaski, as in the Pulaski Skyway, if you're from here in New York City. Artie Lang, The Stench of Failure, directed by Ryan Polito. Comedy Central did a great job with the special, and I appreciate it. So he gave it 3 out of 4 stars. And again, this guy, I think, kind of got it. And check it out on demand. Download it on iTunes. I worked hard on this. It represents a few years of touring, and I appreciate your thoughts. Artie Lang is one of the few comedians working today who has the ability to be wickedly insightful about his past run-ins with drug addiction and can turn around almost immediately and say the raunchiest, filthiest thing one can think of at that moment. Lang has constantly found ways to shock and provoke, understandably so, with his unfiltered approach to comedy. And in The Stench of Failure, his latest Comedy Central sponsored special, he delivers more of the same debauchery and humor he has crafted over the years in film and on The Howard Stern Show. The word crafted might be a bit much. He's being very kind there, crafted, that I crafted. Lang hits the ground running, talking early on about how his personal trainer and him got in a small argument about the high you get from heroin being stronger than the high one gets from running, with the trainer speaking without personal experience on the former. Lang talks about the bet. Lang talks about he bet the trainer that he'd run 3 miles one day and the trainer would try heroin for the first time and they'd compare notes on the highs they received. Following that, Lang divulges to a barrage of different ideas, such as offering to break former Penn State football head coach Jerry Sandusky out of prison so he could have his way with pop singer Justin Bieber, along with offering his funniest bit of the special by discussing his time playing Scrabble in a mental asylum. I assure you it's punched up with jokes, but very true. Lang is a zealous performer, ribald and limitless.
Barrage, zealous, crafted. What is it, a Burns documentary?
Even overly zealous. Ribald and limitless in what he wants to discuss. And even if his humor provokes occasional discomfort and wincing, one must admire the way he doesn't care what kind of controversy he stirs. This was proven by the blowback he received after making sexually explicit, racially charged comments on Twitter about ESPN First Take sportscaster Carrie Champion, another hot chick in sports, and how he refused to apologize for his comments unless Champion said herself that she was indeed disgusted. The Stench of Failure is a testament to Lang's behavior, and we can see a sort of cathartic release emerge from Lang after he talks about his battles with heroin and prescription drugs. This is a rewarding special, mainly because it shows the release of one man through that most rampant, uncontrollable drug of them all, which is humor. And again, that was really good, man. I appreciate it. Again, 3 out of 4 stars. Steve Pulaski wrote that review. And I appreciate it. I really do. So I wanted to thank him. And I made him on Twitter. I invited this guy to come on the show. Maybe talk if he's got something to plug. Not talk about this review. We'll calm down with this, but his other stuff and plug anything he has. So thank you, Steve.
Artie's outside with a beautiful blonde. I'm in here getting bad reviews.
Well, listen, I have Margin Call right here. Look at this.
There you go.
Dan looked up Margin Call.
By J.C. Chan.
It's a 2011, which means it was shot in 2010. So we're talking probably 5 years ago. She looked way better. American independent drama film written and directed by J.C. Chander. Your thoughts on J.C. as a director, Jay?
Awesome. He's friendly as hell. He hired me in Most Violent Year as well. And
okay, so this is the guy from Most Violent Year, too.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's do a little plug for you. Most Violent Year is a movie that you're in as well as Taken 3. Taken 3 is going to be your commercial hit. My Violent Year will be your invitation to the
No,
Oscars.
I don't have a huge parts in. I had a bigger part.
I know, but still, you're in
family.
You're in a movie that's
the cool thing about Margin Call. I got lucky is. When I got to the set, I was the guy, the security guard who fires the people and walks them out of the office. When I got there...
In the movie or at the audition?
During the movie. Stanley Tucci and...
Love Stanley Tucci.
And Demi Moore were in this room where they're finding out what their golden parachute's going to be.
Yeah.
And Demi Moore asked JC a question, and I happened to be in the room, and he literally described... It's really cool. An actor at my level doesn't get to hear a director discuss the whole movie with 2 of the stars, explaining how his dad got fired that way and he worked on Wall Street. And I just sat there like, wow, this is cool. I got to see his whole vision verbally telling to the stars.
Right.
And that's how you get to be friendly with the other actors there. But the only one that said goodbye to me and said thank you so much was Demi Moore. Was very friendly on the set.
Well, sure, that's good.
But JC is awesome. His crew will fight to death for him. He's nice. He's not a jerk. He's like a regular guy.
How old is Demi Moore now, you think? What do you think? We were just watching About last night. It was on
She's got to be 53. I'm
about 51 or 52.
Yeah.
Okay, for that someone that age, she's smoking. But look, we were watching About last night, the movie she did with Rob Lowe. She is so adorable in that. Right. So adorable.
People get older, but I'm telling you, some people look like shit when they get older.
Jim Palumbo's quote of the day: "People get older."
No, I'm just.
I agree with you. I think that
She
for
had
51, most 51-year-olds do not look
She
like
was hot.
Demi
She had a
Moore
beautiful
looks.
body, and she was sweet.
Okay, listen, we're going to wrap things up. This was a great show. I want to thank Brian Jones. He's always a great guest, great sense of humor for calling in his insights into football. He agrees with me, by the way, with my lock of the week. Panthers getting 11. He also likes the Packers. Jimmy thinks Dallas going to give him a run, though. I respect that.
I hate him, but I think Cowboys are going to win big.
Tomorrow, guys, last day of the week for this first week. We're going to wrap up. It's been a great first week. But tomorrow, guys, you can call into the show. The number's 202-780-7848. That number again, 202-780-7848. It's the number to call. You can watch Twitter. Watch Twitter tomorrow, and you can also leave voicemails in the meantime. If you want to leave some funny voicemails, fucking with me or the show, go right ahead. We'll try to play whatever we can. And again, guys, it's uncensored. So the voicemails, if you want to be mean, try to be funny, let it loose. You can curse, cunt, fuck, whatever the fuck you want. That all starts tomorrow. 202-780-7848. We will tweet that as well, Jimmy. Danny, and we're going to let you know about that. It's going to be fun with the phone call aspect. Also want to thank Joe Matarese. Again, Fixing Joe is the name of his podcast. Go to The Real Joe Matarese or TheJoeMatarese.com. And Jim Palumbo, what do you want to plug? Anything? You got Taken 3.
Taken 3.
What was it? My Violent Year?
Most Violent Year.
Right.
I got a small part now. I got a little part in Taken 3. And I'm also going to be on the Mysteries of Laura with Deborah Messing on January 21st.
Deborah Messing.
And I'm going to be on the show Broad City on Comedy Central, which is
Christ. Show. How many fucking... Okay, Jesus. No, Broad City. We had those chicks on our old show, right? Broad City. It's a great show if you don't like Punchline.
And you go to jimmypalumbo.com. But I gotta update it more.
No, Jimmy Palumbo. No, Broad City is very good. Those chicks are smart, funny. They were good on my show, too. And Flippin' behind the dish as our tech guy. Thanks, but wearing a Milwaukee Brewers shirt.
Which is awful and great.
Inexplicable.
Yeah. It's a baseball team I played for, like a summer baseball team.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. But did you get sued by the Brewers? It's the actual...
Well, I mean, we weren't selling them.
So you don't know who Gorman Thomas is?
Yes, he does.
Gorman, no.
Oh, really?
Did he play with Robin
Played
Yount?
center.
That's like
he
wearing
did. He did. He played center field for the 80s. He played
I know
center.
Harvey's Wallbangers.
Let me tell you something. Right, he was on Harvey's Wallbanger.
All right.
He was the biggest Wallbanger. He had 39
I just don't know them by name.
He had 39 homers in 82 when they lost to the Cardinals in the series. What was great about him, he was the center fielder for the American League champion, and he looked like a biker. He looked like a biker. He didn't look like
But
Mickey
if you're
Rivers.
wearing a Brewer shirt, you have to know.
Yeah. Ben Ogilvy was on that team, Robin, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
If your pitcher hangs some curves.
Jim Gantner, the number 9 hitter at second base, hit .298 that year. They were a great team. Okay, guys. That's the Artie Quitter podcast. It's been a great first few days. And again, I thank you so much for signing up. You guys are loyal fans. The number to call tomorrow, 202-780-7848. We'll tweet it. Go to artiequitter.com to sign up, or tell your friends to sign up, and go to Artie Quitter to follow me on Twitter. Love you all. Take care. Brush your hair.